How's everybody doing? Hey, welcome. One time, today I'd like to share with you guys some teachings that I use to help my clients to get out of uh, unresourceful emotional and mental states, right? So I have a practice in which I help through life coaching, hypnotherapy, NLP, applied kinesiology, and different other modalities, ways to help people move forward in their life when feel like they're stuck. Do you ever feel like you're stuck in life? Yes, I was there. I've been there, done that, and I had to learn a lot of things. I had to study a lot. I had to take many courses, many classes. I had to suffer. I had to learn, right? So that's the journey. So I'd like to share with you guys a little bit of like some of the common causes why people suffer, right? We suffer emotional and mental things, and then we keep repeating the same patterns because we don't really know ourselves. We don't really know our true nature. We don't know what's going on with ourselves. So, what's going on with ourselves? We have an essence and we have an ego. We have different parts in which we either feed one and starve the other, or we're always um, making one stronger and making another one weaker. So it's a balance. So how can we be more aware of these different parts? So, and what is the ego? What is the essence? How these things play a part, right? The essence is who you truly are without the labels, the roles that we play, the stories that we learn from our parents, from society. That's who you truly are. When you really dig real deep and you, who am I? What am I here to do? What's the purpose? What's the meaning? Right? What's my why? Once you start to dig into these very deep questions, that's when you start to wake up to your true nature, through who you really are supposed to uh, be, how you're supposed to show up in this world. And not until we understand that we show up in that way, what happens is life feels like we're a little bit off. We're a little bit off track. So we feel negative emotions, right? We feel negative emotions. And one of the main causes why people suffer in the world, apart from not knowing our true nature and their different parts and how those mechanisms work, is the fact that we have disconnected from our creation, from our creator, from divinity itself. Call it God, whatever name you may want to give it to you. And we have been really confused because there is such a thing as a difference between religion and spirituality. Religion and spirituality are totally different things. So spirit and spirituality is has to do with your essence, has to do with who you truly are without a middleman, right? Religion comes created by man, right? Translating, interpreting through the filters of the ego, right? The human ego created religion. I'm not here to say that, there's nothing good within religion, but my main point is religion has pushed a lot of people away from God because it's man-made and has many mistakes have been made, atrocious mistakes have been made with through the name of religion. So religion, it's man-made, is created by the ego, and it's not what spirituality really is. So we have to forgive and let go of whatever it is that religion has done, and we have to really find a way to connect back to our source, to our creator, who keeps us alive, who keeps us going. Because all the fear that we feel, the anxiety and this, because we have disconnected. We feel like we have to do it all alone through the ego. And we can never do all that stuff. by ourselves, all alone, right? When you have a spiritual, sound foundation, we feel solid, we feel secure, right? We may waver a little bit, but we have that solid anchor, right? Which is your spirituality, and you know that you're safe, right? So I'd like to share this is from Dr. David Hawkins. This book is called The Eye of the Eye, The Eye of the Eye, from Dr. David Hawkins. Dr. David Hawkins was the director of the Institute for Spiritual Research, Inc. He remains a widely known authority for anything to do with consciousness. He wrote and taught as an experienced clinician, a scientist, and a teacher. He has been a life member of the American Psychiatric Association with 50 years of clinical experience. Okay, 50 years of clinical experience. This is Dr. David Hawkins. Okay, guys. So this is one of his books, The Eye of the Eye, and I want to share a perspective that I think is very relevant for our times. Something to read, something to develop yourself, to find out your parts, find out your essence, find out about the ego, find out about spirituality and religion, and much, much more. I recommend you take a look at Dr. David Hawkins' works. Okay. So here he says, what is spiritual? It is common for people to confuse the spiritual with religious, and even with the supernatural or astral domains. They are, in fact, quite different. This is from Dr. David Hawkins, guys. This confusion often results in social strife and uncertainty. In the United States Declaration of Independence, for instance, it was stated with great clarity by the originators that the rights of men stem from the divinity of their creation. And thus was established the principle of spirituality. However, they differentiated this form from religion by saying that citizens are to be free from the establishment of any religion. Right? This is very key. The founders were aware that religion divides and is based on secular power, whereas spirituality unites and has no worldly organization. The Declaration of Independence spells out that this is a nation whose government derives its authority from the spiritual principles of the Creator, and that it is to be guided by spiritual principles that see everyone as equal, with justice and freedom for all. Freedom, guys. Does that ring a bell? Right? So this obvious position has great power and needs no defense. Religion, on the other hand, can be sectarian, divides people into conflicting groups, right? Political parties, for instance, often with dire consequences to civilization and to life itself, as history reveals. The sole power of truly spiritual groups originates only from the truth of their teachings and no significant earthly power, edifices, wealth, or reigning officers. Generally, in spirituality, the central ideas that hold the group together are commonly those of love, forgiveness, gratitude, thankfulness, kindness, non-materiality, and non-judgmentalism. Let's write this down. Let's read this again. I think this is really, really important, okay? So generally, in spirituality, the central ideas that hold up the group together with commonly thought are those of love, forgiveness, peace, gratitude, thankfulness, kindness, non-materiality, non-judgmentalism. This is to be spiritual. Okay. So I just wanted to remind you guys that everything else stems from the ego. And I would like to share a little bit with you guys my screen so you can see Dr. David Hawkins himself explaining this much better, much more eloquently than me and my little ego. So let's share screen, sharing, and here. Let's see. Dr. David Hawkins. Show you here. Here he is. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. Let's make it big. Let's get into this picture.
The thing about the ego, which has been ever since the beginning of time, is it constantly seeks for gain, and its fear is one of loss. It clutches. So the ego is characterized by clutching that. It wants to control. The minute the ego thinks a thing is mine, it totally changes dimension.
So I would like to hear where it gets really juicy, guys. So please hang with me.
I mean, it's a marvelous mechanism. I don't want anything to do with it, but
so these are the
importance.
Little nuances of the ego.
Say my body or my mind, my possessions, the minute you add the word my, you're stuck. First of all, nothing belongs to you. Everything belongs to God. You have temporary custody. Temporary custody. You are the steward of these things. See yourself as the steward rather than the owner. It's the body and it's the mind. And when you stop referring to it as me, it loses its attractive ego investment. It's a body and it's the body and it's the mind. Where to be hypnotized by the mind is to think these are my thoughts, emanate from the field of consciousness impersonally. The minute you connect with a certain level of consciousness, you're connected to an attractor field. That attractor field has the same thoughts and has always had them. For thousands of years. There's nothing novel about it. It's mine, and I'll kill you. You think that's your thought? Did you invent that thought? Something new in man's history? That prevailing thought field thinks that way. Those thoughts belong to the field, they're not yours. So don't claim ownership for that which over which you have no ownership. Nothing belongs to anyone. Everything belongs to divinity. You have temporary custody, temporary stewardship. So give up your life for something which isn't even yours. It's a little ridiculous, you know. Oh, Lord.
And that's that, folks. So stop sharing screen. So I would like to invite you guys to dig in a little deeper into the work of Dr. David Hawkins. I definitely am enjoying hearing my book, and I recommend you guys check it out. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message. You have my website at adelitamonterolive.com. You can go to the contact page and you can fill out a form and we'll be talking. Talk to you soon. Ciao.